busted. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Before Berry Gordy built the most powerful music empire in black history, he built a machine. A machine that could make you, break you, and if you ever tried to walk away, erase you.
It all upset, here's the truth.
Talk to me.
I was with my girl when she...
These 10 artists found out the hard way. Each one left Motown. Each one paid a price. And by the time this video is over, you will never listen to their music the same way again. Stay with us, because number 1 on this list, nobody saw it coming.
I don't care what they think.
Number 10, Mary Wells. In 1964, Mary Wells was the hottest name in America. My Guy had just gone to number 1. The Beatles had personally requested her as their opening act on their first US tour. Berry Gordy had built her into a star from nothing, but Mary Wells was turning 21. And buried in her contract was a clause that most artists never noticed, a clause that said she could void her deal when she came of legal age. Her lawyers found it. She used it. She left Motown for a reported $200,000 deal with 20th Century Fox. Berry Gordy, by most accounts, did not take it well. What followed was quiet and brutal. Motown retained the rights to every recording she had ever made. Her voice, her catalog, her legacy, all of it stayed behind. Fox could not replicate the Motown sound. The hits stopped coming. By the mid-60s, Mary Wells had gone from America's sweetheart to a footnote. She spent the next decades chasing a comeback that never fully arrived. In 1990, she was diagnosed with throat cancer and publicly revealed she had no money for treatment. The woman who had given Motown its first number 1 single was applying for government assistance. She died in 1992. She was 49 years old. And at the time of her death, Berry Gordy still owned her music. That is what leaving Motown looked like in the beginning. And it only gets more complicated from here. People remember the hits. They stream My Guy to this day without a second thought. But behind that song is a woman who never saw the full rewards of what she created. Her story is the blueprint for everything that follows on this list. Number 9, The Four Tops. The Four Tops did not make headlines when they left Motown in 1972. There was no dramatic press release, no public falling out. But the story underneath the silence, that is a different thing entirely. When Berry Gordy announced he was moving Motown from Detroit to Los Angeles, the Four Tops stayed put. They had roots in Detroit, community, family, and honestly, they had been watching what happened to artists who followed Gordy west and found themselves lost in a new machine that did not quite work the same way. So they went to ABC Dunhill, and for a stretch it worked. Keeper of the Castle. Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got. Real hits, real radio play. Levi Stubbs' voice, still one of the most powerful instruments in soul music, was doing exactly what it had always done. But here is the part people gloss over. A Motown had shaped the Four Tops so completely, the arrangements, the production philosophy, the sonic identity, that building something equivalent elsewhere required a team almost no other label had. Just walk away. When the production dried up and the label priorities shifted, the Four Tops found themselves caught between eras. Levi Stubbs spent much of the 1980s watching a new generation of R&B artists, men who had grown up listening to him, become the headliners. He remained gracious, dignified. He never aired bitterness publicly about what could have been. But those who watched closely saw a man who understood exactly what the machine had cost him, even while he had been inside it. Detroit never forgot them, even when the industry moved on. The Four Tops remained a symbol of what happened when loyalty to home cost you your place at the table. Their catalog kept selling, but the bigger checks were going somewhere else.
Quick question, are you subscribed? If not, you're part of the 99% who watch and disappear. Here's the problem, YouTube won't show you our next video unless you subscribe. So if you want more untold music stories like this, hit that button right now, 2 seconds, do it before you forget.
Number 8, Gladys Knight. Here is what the official story says.
Should I care about your feelings?
Gladys Knight and the Pips left Motown in 1973 after creative differences and a dispute over the soundtrack to the film Claudine.
Stood by your side through all your...
The label wanted Diana Ross. Gladys wanted the work. She felt the label had been deliberately holding her back. That last part is where it gets interesting.
Gave you 3 hearts.
By 1973, Diana Ross had been Motown's flagship for years.
1 boy and 1 girl and
Berry Gordy's personal investment in Ross, both professional and reportedly personal, was an open secret inside the label.
a woman who loves you.
And for Gladys Knight, who had delivered hit after hit, including the original version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine before Marvin Gaye made it legendary, the hierarchy was clear.
Want to know.
She was never going to be first at Motown, not while Diana Ross was there. She left for Buddha Records.
Really doesn't matter why you're leaving.
And then something happened that Motown did not expect. Midnight Train to Georgia.
You should know.
Released 1973, #1 for 2 weeks. Grammy Award for Best R&B Vocal Performance.
You really thrown away your life and I won't.
Gladys Knight had not just survived leaving Motown, she had released one of the greatest soul records of the entire decade. The industry noticed. Berry Gordy noticed, and quietly, the narrative that Motown had let a secondary artist walk away began to look like one of the most significant miscalculations in label history.
You're just throwing it away, baby.
Gladys Knight went on to one of the longest and most respected careers in American music. She never needed Berry Gordy to remind the world of her greatness.
All for some girl born, yes.
She did it herself, one midnight train at a time. What makes her story different from almost everyone else on this list is that she did not just survive, she flourished.
Really thrown away your life and I.
She proved that the Motown machine was powerful, but it was not the only path. Some artists simply outgrow the walls built around them.
I won't sympathize.
Number 6, the Jackson 5. In 1975, the Jackson 5 signed with Epic Records. They had to change their name. Motown owned the Jackson 5 trademark. They became the Jacksons. Jermaine, who was married to Berry Gordy's daughter Hazel, stayed behind. But the most important thing Motown kept was not the name. It was the masters. Every song the Jackson 5 had recorded at Motown ABC, I Want You Back, The Love You Save, belonged to Berry Gordy. The boys who had poured their youth into those recordings received none of the long-term royalty structures that those catalog hits would eventually generate for decades. Michael Jackson watched this. He was 17 years old when they left, and he was already studying the architecture of the music business the way other teenagers studied baseball cards. When Michael eventually negotiated his solo deal with Epic, he made the ownership of his masters a central demand. When he purchased the ATV music catalog in 1985, outbidding Paul McCartney and acquiring the rights to the Beatles' song catalog, the entire music industry understood exactly where that obsession had come from. Berry Gordy had taught Michael Jackson the most expensive lesson in the music business. He learned it so well that he became, in the end, one of the most powerful rights holders in the history of the entire industry. Some lessons cost you everything. Some lessons make you everything. Michael Jackson managed to turn his into both. The irony is that Berry Gordy created the very hunger that would drive Michael to build an empire he himself could never touch. Every time Michael signed a deal that protected his ownership, he was answering a lesson Motown taught him before he was even old enough to vote. Number 5. David Ruffin of the Temptations. We are halfway through this list, and it only gets darker from here.
You know how much I do.
David Ruffin did not leave Motown quietly. He was fired from the Temptations in 1968 after a pattern of behavior the group and the label could no longer absorb missed shows. Erratic conduct, a growing sense of individual identity that was colliding hard with the group-first philosophy Berry Gordy had built everything on. But here is what gets buried in that narrative.
Gonna take everything I've got.
David Ruffin was, by virtually every account from that era, the greatest pure voice the Temptations ever had. My girl, ain't too proud to beg. I wish it would rain. The emotional weight of those recordings rested almost entirely on what Ruffin did with the lead vocal.
Every time you touch my hand.
After he was removed, Motown kept promoting the Temptations. The group continued.
And a dread that shakes my body.
Ruffin was replaced, and the label made sure the public understood who was essential, and it was not the individual. It was the brand.
That even I don't understand.
His solo career at Motown never reached the heights he deserved.
That pushing me away.
He was, in many ways, made into an example of what happened when the machine decided you were more useful as a cautionary tale than a headliner.
So leave it.
By the late 1970s, David Ruffin was battling addiction and financial instability. Motown continued to profit from the catalog recordings that featured his voice prominently. He received none of that ongoing revenue in any meaningful form. He died of a cocaine overdose in 1991. He was 50 years old. At his funeral, Michael Jackson, who had idolized the Temptations as a child, paid for the entire service out of his own pocket, and the label that owned his greatest work was not among those who covered the cost. There is something deeply painful about a voice that size being reduced to a warning. David Ruffin deserved catalogs, royalties, and recognition on the same level as any Motown legend. Instead, the machine kept the music and left the man behind. Number 4. Florence Ballard of the Supremes. This one is the story Berry Gordy has had to live with the longest. Florence Ballard was a founding member of the Supremes. She was, by multiple accounts, the original driving force behind the group. The girl who had the vision recruited Diana Ross and helped build what would become Motown's crown jewel act from the ground up. In 1967, she was removed. The official reason cited erratic behavior and missed performances. The unofficial reason, widely understood by everyone inside the label, was that Berry Gordy had decided Diana Ross was the future, and Florence Ballard was standing directly in the way. She was replaced by Cindy Birdsong. The group became Diana Ross and the Supremes. And Florence Ballard received a settlement reported to be around $160,000 and was asked to sign away any future claims to the Supremes' name and every recording she had made. She signed. She needed the money. She did not fully understand what she was surrendering. Her solo career at ABC Records did not produce a single charting hit. By the early 1970s, Florence Ballard, one of the women who had literally built Motown's most famous act, was on public assistance. She was living in a public housing project in Detroit. She died in 1976 from a blood clot. She was 32 years old. The Supremes' catalogue that carried her voice continued to generate revenue for decades. Documentaries were made. The musical Dreamgirls dramatized a version of her story. Money changed hands in her name for years and years after her death. Our Florence Ballard never saw a single dollar of it. She helped build one of the most valuable music brands in American history and died in poverty before she turned 33. The city of Detroit mourned her. The label that profited from her voice moved on. That contrast says everything about how the machine worked. Number 3, Diana Ross. You thought she was the winner? Keep watching. Diana Ross was Berry Gordy's greatest creation and his greatest gamble. Their relationship, personally and professionally intertwined for years, gave her access and elevation that no other Motown artist ever received. She was groomed, polished, positioned, and protected at every turn. And then, in 1981, she left. The official story involves a bidding war. RCA offered a reported $20 million. It was, at the time, one of the largest recording contracts ever handed to a solo artist in history. Diana Ross said yes. What followed was instructive. Her RCA years produced moderate commercial success. I can't resist your Muscles, written and produced by Michael Jackson, gave her a top 10 hit in 1982. But the infrastructure that Motown had provided the A&R attention, the custom-built production philosophy, the label-wide obsession with her success, was completely gone. RCA was a major label with major priorities. Diana Ross was not their only priority. She returned to Motown in 1989. The homecoming was framed publicly as triumphant, but industry analysts read it differently. She had chased the biggest payday available, discovered that the money did not come with the machine, and come back. Two hearts that beat. What Berry Gordy had built for Diana Ross was not just a recording career. It was a custom environment that existed nowhere else on Earth. She had left it voluntarily and spent 8 full years learning that the most important thing Motown had ever given her was not the songs. It was the system behind the songs. And that she could not take with her. $20 million sounds like freedom. But Diana Ross discovered that the most valuable thing at Motown was never written into any contract. It was the obsessive personal attention of one man who had decided she would be the biggest star in the world and then built an entire label around making that happen. Number 2, Smokey Robinson.
They always do, haven't they known?
Before we get to number 1, and you need to stay, because number 1 involves something Berry Gordy has never directly answered for here, is the story of the one man who left Motown and somehow walked away clean. And even that story is more complicated than it appears. Smokey Robinson was not just a Motown artist, he was a Motown architect. As vice president of the label, he was involved in building the company in a way that most artists could never have imagined. He wrote for other acts, he produced. He was, in almost every meaningful sense, Berry Gordy's closest creative partner across 2 full decades. He stepped back from performing in 1972, citing exhaustion, a deteriorating marriage, and a genuine personal need to slow down. He did not fully leave. He remained on the executive side of the business. His solo comeback in the late 1970s produced one of the most beloved records of his career. Being With You, released in 1981, went to number 1. It was tender, intimate, and a reminder that Smokey Robinson's voice had not aged, it had only deepened. But the complexity underneath the warmth is worth sitting with. Smokey Robinson's loyalty to Berry Gordy and his willingness to remain inside the Motown structure in a leadership role shielded him from the kind of contract warfare that quietly destroyed so many other artists. He did not have to fight for what was his because he had something almost no other Motown artist possessed. A seat in the room where decisions were made. His story is often held up as proof that the Motown machine could be navigated with grace and dignity. And that is true. But it is worth asking honestly how many artists ever had the position, the access, or the relationship to navigate it the way Smokey Robinson did. The answer is almost none.
I don't care if they start to avoid me.
Smokey's survival was real, but it was also rare.
We told you so. They tell me
He had proximity to power that most Motown artists could only watch from a distance. His story is not a blueprint, it is an exception.
if they start to avoid me. I don't
And the distance between his outcome and Florence Ballard's tells you everything you need to know about how the machine distributed its rewards.
care what they do.
Number 1, the Isley Brothers.
To talk about
I can explain everything.
right now. I want you.
The Isley Brothers are number 1 on this list, not because their story is the saddest. It is not.
Out this house.
Baby, please, one more chance, let me tell you.
They are number 1 because they did something that almost no artist in the entire history of Motown managed to do.
Where I've been.
Quit wasting my time and say what's on your mind.
They won. The Isleys came to Motown in 1965. They had already had a career before they arrived.
Me and some girlfriends, we went down.
Shout, twist, and shout. They were not raw talent being sculpted by the machine. They were seasoned professionals entering a system with their eyes open.
Up the phone and call me.
I was gonna do that, but it's
And from the very beginning, the tension was present. At Motown, the Isley Brothers were handed songs, producers, and a sound that was not entirely their own.
Baby, I'm a victim of circumstances.
The results were competent, but creatively constrained. The machine worked, but it was not built for them specifically. By 1968, they had left, not with a buyout,
Now earlier you said dancing.
not with a settlement that stripped them of their future. They left, founded their own label T-Neck Records, and began the second chapter of their career entirely on their own terms.
But when I just asked, you said shopping.
And then something remarkable happened. It did not happen immediately,
Frankly, my dear, I don't.
but through the late 1960s and deep into the 1970s, the Isley Brothers built one of the most creatively fertile runs in the history of soul and R&B. It's Your Thing.
You stay with her.
Well, why didn't you just pick up the phone?
That Lady, Fight the Power, Between the Sheets, Harvest for the World, each one owned, each one theirs. They owned their masters, they owned their label.
Oh, baby, I must be confused.
Yeah, right, you're real confused.
They made decisions artistic, financial, structural that no Motown artist in the classic era had ever been permitted to make.
At it, call a cab.
Cab for
It's
what?
obvious.
And they lasted. Through the 70s, through the 80s, into decades that swallowed most of their contemporaries entirely.
I'm sorry, but I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, well, I got some.
When other artists on this very list were fighting for royalties, living in poverty, or dying while their catalog generated millions for someone else, the Isley Brothers were collecting checks with their own names on them.
Boy, you tell me what's her name?
Sharon,
Where does she live?
Berry Gordy built an empire. The Isley Brothers walked away from it and built their own.
Thing I gotta know. How the hell is she your friend if you don't know it?
Of every artist on this list, every name, every tragedy, every cautionary tale, they are the only ones who looked at what the Motown machine was offering,
one or two.
She got kids.
Baby, yes, no.
That's one thing I
understood exactly what it would cost, and said, "We will go build something better." And they did.
gotta know. How the hell is she your friend if you don't know if she got.
That is the lesson that outlasts all the others. Not how to survive the machine, not how to endure it,
You don't believe me, I don't understand it.
Trying to slick a cat.
but how to look it in the eye, walk away with your dignity and your catalog intact, and build something that belongs entirely to you.
Get you and get out of here now.
The Isley Brothers did not just escape Motown. They made Motown irrelevant to their legacy.
While you at it, call